with the October 31st start. And then you have to really wonder about the schedule. And I've actually got a crazy idea for the schedule. I haven't heard it anywhere, but
Let me hear it.
It's probably not going to happen. But it's if the Pac-12 wants a team to get into the college football playoffs, the biggest knock on the playoff or on the Pac-12 has been it's been the strength of the school schedules. The Pac-12 gets knocked for having a weak strength of schedule. So how do you strengthen the schedule? Well, with this weird season, I think that the Pac-12, they kind of just get rid of the conferences because, you got the North and the South, and you kind of just put the top teams in one conference that'll just play this season against each other. And that would be maybe the teams from the best records last year, which would be UW, USC, Cal. I had it written down somewhere, but I lost it. Colorado, Utah, ASU, and then Cal were the top 6 teams from last year, all of them having greater than 8-5 records, I believe. And so you pair those teams together, they'll play each other 5 times once, and then you'll rematch against 2 of the teams twice. So it'll be the Pac-12's best competition going up against each other on a season. And if one of those teams somehow get out of there going 8-0, winning the championship, maybe they've got a shot at getting in the Pac-12 championship, which I'm sure Larry Scott and all the Pac-12 officials want a UW team to be in, as I believe it's $6 million to the conference for fielding a team in that. I mean, with the financial troubles, they need the money.
Yeah.
And that might be the best way for Pac-12 team to get in there. Just pulling a curveball. I don't think it's even possible to happen with everything.
I don't see that happening.
I think that's the only way a Pac-12 school could make it in the college football playoffs this year.
I don't think that's true. What I see happening, what I think the best plan or best course of action for the Pac-12 right now, when they decide this tomorrow, is to get that October 31st start date. Without this October 31st start date, everything gets pushed back an extra week, which ruins the plan I'm about to give you. But we need to have the start date be October 31st. If and only if it's safe to do so. Like, that's the number one ruling. Like, October 30th, we don't think it's safe. Like, you just got to say, like, hey, biting the bullet, we can't have this. October 31st start date. You give the Oregon teams and the California teams their bye week. Week 1. That's their bye week. They have that extra week to practice, ramp up, get ready for play on week 2. Somewhere along the line, you give the 2 Washington schools, the 2 Arizona schools, Utah and
Colorado.
And Colorado. Sorry, Colorado. You give those 6 teams their bye weeks throughout those 6 or 7 weeks of normal play you have leading up to normal bowl game dates. And from there, I know the people who make these schedules sometimes make pretty nasty mistakes. Like they just make schedules look terrible, way too good for the team. If they play their cards right, we could see an amazingly competitive bowl game potential season come out of all Pac-12 schools, if and only if we get that October 31st start date and all of those 6 teams get a guaranteed bye week on that first day. Otherwise, none of this is going to happen.
I mean, do you think that a Pac-12 team with that schedule, with the games that they play against their own conference teams, like a UW playing against Wazoo and Oregon State and maybe the lower division schools, would a great record, like say UW somehow goes 7-0, is that how many games you'd be having?
You'd hope for 7, probably get 6.
So if they go 6-0 or 7-0, what are the likelihood that the College Football Playoff Committee would pick them over a 2-loss SEC team or a 3-loss SEC?
I mean, that's the question every year, isn't it? Like,
yeah, and it's never been with the Pac-12. They've always sided with.
I mean, there's also I can't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. I cannot remember a season in the past 4 years where I've been in university at UW where a Pac-12 team has gone undefeated and not made a bowl. I don't even know if a Pac-12 team has gone undefeated.
Well, I'm not talking about bowl games. Bowl games, yeah, they should get in a bowl game, but six games played, that would even put into question the bowl games for other teams, because usually a bowl game, if you get 6 wins, you're in. This season's completely different.
Yeah.
So who knows how that would be all organized. I'm talking about the college football playoffs with a 6-0 team. I don't see them beating out an 8-2 team in the SEC. It's
honestly going to come down to what adjusted factors that the playoff committees take this year. I mean, there's a big asterisk on 2020 alone, not even counting sports. And so that asterisk, that little star denoting how odd of a year this has been for sports, is definitely going to carry over into the playoff committee. And is definitely going to play into whether or not a team who may go 6-0, 7-0, 5-1 in the adjusted Pac-12 season this year. I think a lot of it, though, is going to come down to precedent, how often that team has gone into the CFB playoffs, as well as individual player strength. I think that's going to be a big one this year that I'd love for them to take more of a factor into, is individual talent, because it's going to be really hard for them to judge team chemistry, team talent, team skill level just based off of 6 games. Like, that's almost impossible to do to set up good playoff games. So it's definitely going to be a weird set of criteria they use.
Well, hopefully we don't have to wait much longer for the decision. Hopefully they make that tomorrow and actually get a schedule out there.
Yeah. In